Tesla's doing great in a lot of markets, but the UK has some interesting developments this week, and I wanted to go into them, and so I figured who better to talk to than my friend who lives in a country where they still have pictures of monarchs. Maybe not on the money as much anymore as they used to, but figured, without getting Will from Tesla Jigsaw in, which I would love to do again. He's a great guy. You should check him out too. I brought on Mark from the Tesla Life podcast, a fantastic show, to talk about some of the stories that he's found, some of the stories I've found, and what's going on in jolly old Britain. I'm Brian. Welcome to Future Ozza. Now, Mark, you know why they don't pronounce why they dropped the pronunciation to British?
No, I don't. Why is that?
It's because they dumped all their tea in Boston Harbor. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that one. Okay.
That's
And
true.
about the money thing, Brian. Yeah, we still got the Queen
That's
on the
very
money.
nice. She's a lovely gal. Her Majesty's a pretty nice girl. So yeah, Mark, I'm gonna just mention. So Mark, I'm just gonna mention here that quick way if you need to support the channel, which would be awesome if you could, but you don't have to, of course. This is how I get around, how I get to do the things, how I'm able to feed my children, which is something fairly important, I have been told. You can do it a number of ways. You know what's going on. You know what's up. So we have got this. Let's start with this one. Did you know that Ford is ready to restrict UK sales of gas-powered dyno burners to hit their EV targets? How exciting is that?
Yes, indeed. Ford is looking at new regulations that are showing up in the UK that they're going to have to comply with. Otherwise, they're going to be paying some hefty fees for not achieving particular goals when it comes to reducing the amount of ICE vehicles and increasing the number of EVs that are out there. And Ford's very concerned about this because they're having issues selling a compelling EV in the United States, as we know. Yes, they have a Mach-E. Yes, they have the F-150 Lightning. But as of late here in North America, there's been quite a slump when it's come to sales of those two units. And Ford, although they have the ability to sell different vehicles in the European Union and in the UK, they're very concerned that they're going to be slapped with fines because they're not going to be able to sell the volume of EVs that this new regulation is imposing on them.
Well, let me read this part and you tell me if I'm reading it wrong. We can't push EVs into the market against demand. We're not going to pay penalties. We're not going to sell EVs at a huge loss just to buy compliance. The only alternative is to take our shipment of dyno burners to the UK down and sell these vehicles somewhere else. So does that mean that they will be selling fewer cars total in the UK, or that they're going to transition more quickly?
This is a threat that they're going to be leaving the UK market. And this is how serious Ford is about their projections of how many EVs they could actually sell. They're concerned based on these new regulations.
Well, they do say demand is behind our expectations now, and we're not hitting our ambitious targets. Everyone's getting extremely nervous. Yeah, it's irrelevant if it's going to be in 2030 or 2035. The trajectory is clear. Is that because people don't want EVs, Mark?
No, that's not the reason. The reason is what Ford is selling is not wanted. And that is an issue for that manufacturer.
Terrible. It's ridiculous. You've got to make compelling cars at compelling prices. My thought on the silver lining for Ford is they do have a Skunk Works program where they are working on new EVs from the ground up. And I am hopeful, optimistically cautious that they would actually be able to produce vehicles using a newer philosophy, a more nimble approach, perhaps. They've got a very strong brand with great brand loyalty. There are people who want to buy these cars, but they're not going to do it if they cost more and aren't as good.
Exactly. Like I know that Ford, for example, its e-Transit here in North America, that is an excellent option for the UK as a small delivery van. And there's not a lot of the small delivery vans out there that are all electric. They should definitely work on making that to be one of the options or a bigger option in their EV stable.
I did a video recently with a tradesman in Portland who's an electrician who drives a Ford e-Transit for work. It fits all his gear because it's big enough. It's the right size. He gets 150 miles of range, which is all he needs. And the biggest complaint I saw was someone said, well, what if he has to haul a trailer? Then how's he supposed to charge? And I said, he charges every night at the shop. If he needs a trailer, I think he knows who can install one that can reach. So for him, he paid $50,000. It was on the lot, on clearance, $50,000. He got the $7,500 credit, $42,500 for a brand new van, and he's saving $500 a month, meaning in 8 years, this van will have become free. That's a hell of a deal.
And
So
that's compelling for any tradesman that's watching the dollars being spent at the gas pump.
a new van of a full ton van or 3/4 ton. I think it's a full, I don't remember now, but it's adequate for his use. Any van in that price range is going to be expensive, but this one is going to pay you back over time. Forget all the lack of maintenance needed and all that. He said when he does have to go up to Seattle to get some specialty weird part, that he just charges along the way, just stops at a charger. So now we've got this more exciting one. I don't know if you know this, but this is my last free article this month from the Ottumwa Courier, who I have never once seen before. So that's exciting, because after that, I will have to pick a different source because I don't know who you are and I can't do that. Tesla Cybertruck finally arrives in the UK. Could the behemoth electric car kickstart an EV revolution? Well, I mean, that's the article you were going to charge me for? Fantastic. Magical.
Oh man,
Magical.
that's great. That's great. But that's Tesla has put the Cybertruck on a European tour. So
Yes.
it's out visiting multiple markets that it may never appear in, but of course it's great PR for the company, and to show a unique vehicle like the Cybertruck to the public that may or may not be aware of it is going to get you clicks and views, and it's going to get you recognition. So it's definitely advertising for Tesla, who is traditionally not an advertiser. So it's out showing people what it's got and making impressions.
Fellow rebellionaire S.E. Robinson Jr. managed to I assume find this picture of the Cybertruck out at King's Cross, which you may know as the train station where Harry Potter caught the train to Hogwarts. I actually had a chance to stay in the hotel next door to this at St. Pancras just last year. What a small world. So it was out there on display, and it, of course, made quite a stir. Still unknown if this is coming to the UK. Many are quite hopeful. Some have reservations. And I mean that both literally and metaphorically. So this is exciting. I mean, it's no Ottumwa Courier story, but it's an actual picture with some context. So let's do him a favor and thank him for it. There we go. Yeah, so that's all very exciting. And of course, we do have more stories from England. Now, do you think the market wants this in England?
I think there's certainly a percentage of the market would like to have this option. England is not, although they have these, small van deliveries or, medium-sized vans, there's not a lot of pickups in the UK that have been imported at all. It's not something that has been used that often. A lot of vehicles in the UK are on the smaller side, especially for businesses and such. So I'm not sure. Like here in North America, we're so inundated with pickup trucks here that it is the best-selling vehicle across all segments, and it has been for an awfully long time. But we've got a lot more space over here in North America when it comes to our cities and our suburbs, and a bigger vehicle is not too much of a problem. It gets sticky in some places like Boston and other places that have old city streets, but typically England is a different story. So that's probably why the larger vehicles are just not in style there, because of its actual functionality on the roads.
And I don't think they would want to make right-hand drive version just for the UK.
Yeah,
But
that too.
if it's going to be in Australia and other parts of the world, there are still, what, 70, 80 countries that have right-hand drive. They just don't make up as large of a percentage of the automotive market globally. And in terms of size, it's not taller than necessarily other vehicles, and it's not wider than a transit van. So it will fit on the streets. The only question is how comfortably and what it'll cost and if people want it. For the celebrity appeal alone, you would definitely move hundreds, maybe even thousands. But in terms of becoming a best-selling vehicle, probably not. Did you know Tesla's pushing to legalize driverless cars in the UK? And yeah, it's very exciting.
There- Tesla's pushing legalization of self-driving cars everywhere that they can have access to, because of course that is going to be the next step for Tesla. Is once they've got FSD locked down pretty solidly, they're going to need jurisdictions and countries that allow them to put these cars on the road and for them to operate in that manner. So Tesla has been beating the bushes of countries to find out who's going to let them, what jurisdictions will let them, what provinces, what states. And that's not a surprise that the UK is on that list.
Yeah, the company held a demonstration for Euro NCAP officials, and one official present said it was the first time Tesla had shown it off, although it was only active on a small number of roads. We're not going to just turn it on because we know it's not legal, but if we're allowed to give you a demonstration, we will activate it for those small number of roads under supervision so you can see what everyone else gets to see. And I think it's great that that Tesla is working with Euro NCAP. What's fun is every few years, there's a new test. There's a new component added to the safety requirements. And usually companies like Tesla do very well with those because the vehicle's an inherently safer design and they've got an absolute commitment to making safe vehicles. Sometimes they're a little sillier. You remember there was the whole complaint that people were saying, oh, well, they require all the essentials to not be on a screen, but to be at the driver's fingertips. This is going to punish Tesla. This will take those fanboys down a peg. But everything they asked for is already on the steering wheel. Getting rid of the stocks did not change that. It is, you can still do all the things. Yeah, the blinker, you no longer have to take your hand off the wheel. So anything else, the volume, all the critical things are still there. There's just fewer knobs. I saw a great video talking about the real savings by getting rid of all those knobs. You're talking every knob needs a full wiring element to it, and getting rid of all those wires meant simplification, not just in terms of the parts count, but in terms of the engineering, because the computer has to control all those things anyway. Getting all the wiring to play nice with each other can be a nightmare.
Yeah. And this story, of course, was from the UK, but recently, as of last week, Giga Berlin has put on a few of these demonstrations as well for other countries that have come to Giga Berlin to see it happen. So this is the way that Tesla is trying to entice countries to go along with the full self-driving, and of course, the safety that comes along with it.
Indeed. And on the wiring thing, an example that was given by an engineer was we had all these different engineering groups are competing for space in the same place, and they had put some control somewhere, and maybe it was the seat adjustment was on the side of the seat, and now with the new way the door sill was, it was hard to reach, and they said, you guys have to move the controls, put it on the door. And they said, the door? Are you kidding me? Okay, we'll make it work, but we're going to need months to re-engineer this and make it actually work. So that, because now it's got to go in the door moves, you got to make sure there's enough real estate in the gasket.
Yeah.
It
You
is
got to run the
lot.
wiring back to where the door hinges, so there could be
Yeah.
some extra length on the wire. Absolutely.
It could be a different gauge of wire completely, a different type of wire. I mean, and it now has to have different elemental protections. Very, very insane potentially. So it's exciting. Europe is still moving forward. I don't know if you know this, but Tesla does plan to continue selling vehicles in Europe. Yeah, that's true.
Well, actually, you're going there soon, so if not
Am
there
I?
now, so you can find out.
That's true. It turns out I am going. Let me double check. See, on here, they've still got me listed as My Tesla Weekend, but on other pages they've got it as Futuraza. Yeah, it's going to be great. John from the Silicon Valley Owners Club, K10 will be there, Best in Tesla, Bearded Tesla Guy, Tesla Boomer Mama, all kinds of great folks. Jan from Tesla Fix. Pete Gruber from Gruber Motors will be there. That's exciting. I'm looking forward to asking him for an interview. And then workshops and of course the vendors. It's so much fun. Oh, so guys, what did we miss? What did we misunderstand? Is Europe an island unto itself? Who knows, man? The UK has got some issues to work out in terms of getting their automotive market back up to where it was just a few years ago. During the lockdown, their automotive sales fell off, as everyone's did, but theirs have not recovered to the same extent. And it's a scary time, I guess, for some of them. So, yeah, what do we miss? What do we misunderstand? Do me a favor, if you would, head on over to the Tesla Life podcast. The Tesla Life show is a lot of fun. Patrick, Casey, and I guess Mark do a pretty good job over there. And it's a lot of fun. And yeah, everybody else, like, subscribe, smack buttons, do what you got to do. And stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots. Who knows, maybe in Europe.